Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to your favorite convention-related podcast, Conjob. In this week's episode, Dylan and I are going to do some general ramblings about various topics in the con world. We talk about 18 and over shows. We talk about international shows, and there's a few interesting tidbits there that you guys might find useful. So enjoy.
Without further ado, Dylan, welcome. How's
Thanks
it
for
going?
having me. Oh, it's great. Haven't chatted with you in what seems like over a month before New York.
How's it?
I
No,
know
we've texted a little bit,
here
but
and there, but
yeah. It's been
get the
it's been.
411 on
I was out of
the country
I,
and
I was. We were far away for a little while. Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot. There's a lot. So what are we going to talk about? You want to talk about that? We got a lot of stuff, I guess, right?
well, for one, I mean, little house, not even housekeeping, but I was like, dude, you're always talking about jujitsu. Got to ask, how's that treating you?
It's good. It's good. I had my first. Well, I've done tournaments for a while, and I've done pretty well. But I did a no gi one where we don't wear the outfit. For those that don't know, there's gi. I always do gi, which is the what you would think a karate gi looks like. So there's that. So this is my first time doing both. I did gi and no gi, and it's a little different because you can't grab. You're not allowed to grab anything. You have to like hold their neck or hold their arm. And when they're sweaty, it's hard to do. In a gi, you can just grab a hold of anything you want. So there's a lot more technique involved, I think. But happy to say I won gold in my first no gi match. It was in October.
No more
So-
black eyes that
No,
Meg has to
I
contend
did get
with.
kicked. I did get kicked in the eye, and I had a little. It wasn't a black eye. It was just a little tiny cut. I have an awesome photo of it, but yeah, it didn't turn into a black eye. So yeah, no, Meg wasn't yelling at me anymore for that one. But yes, he took a picture with me, and I'm pouring sweat because with no gi,
There seems to
every
be a recurring
move.
theme on the podcast. You're always talking about how sweaty you get.
Well, in no gi, it's much harder because every move, there's no grip, so it's a lot of technique, and I don't know. I feel like you have to go 100% because in gi, I could grab you, pull you to the ground, and in no gi you can't. So it's a lot of stand up. So there's just a lot of trying to get you down, and him trying to get me down or whatever. So I was dying. So I have a picture of her and I like standing there with my gold medal, and she's like, and so then I just finally grab her and hug her, and she's like, ah. So it
all
was great.
candid, no
Yeah.
posing.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. But
Well,
yeah, but we were talking earlier. I wanted to mention so Tom Hardy. For those that don't know, he plays Bane and Venom, and he does awesome work. He's really good. So he does jujitsu, and I found out that he and I are the same age. We're both 31. We're the same age. We are also up until recently. He just got his promotion to purple belt, but I'll get there soon. But before that, we were the same belt and the same age and the same weight. And he does do tournaments. So I just know I'm gonna find one that he's in, and I'm gonna go, and we're going at it. I'm taking down, and I'm gonna get to a spot where I can be on top or on the side control, and I'm just gonna whisper into his ear.
yeah, I mean,
Just-
you'll get your back broken, so I don't know if
Yeah,
this is going to work
that's
out
true.
for you.
That's true. So, but yeah, I'm excited. I wanna take him down, but yeah,
Well,
that's it.
Well, so okay, we haven't even chatted about New York, but right after New York, you went across. Where did you go again? You left the country. Like,
Yes.
was that more for vacation? Was that for a show?
So
a little bit
we-
of both.
It was a little bit of both. So we had a show there called Quantum Con. It was in Kuwait. So
Okay.
those who aren't familiar with Kuwait, just look up Saddam Hussein. So we went to Kuwait, but on the way there, we went to Saudi Arabia for 5 days, and it was anybody who owns a fish tank, I don't anymore. I had one when I was a kid, but anyone who has a fish tank, sand, and you buy those little corals and rocks or whatever, and the little fake mountains that you put in there for them to. Saudi Arabia, beautiful country because it's desert. We don't see any of that here, where I am at least in Florida. It's all water and alligators and houses because anywhere there's land, they're going to put a house on it here. But there, it literally looks like you're in a fishbowl. Like the mountains, I'm telling you, I don't know if this has ever been proven or if anybody ever talks about it, but we're driving and I said, I guarantee you 500,000 years ago, this was all underwater because it just looks like the bottom of the ocean, and it's like the rocks have formations to them that like, it's not normal. And like the way that they are, it looked like water has been there, and it just, like I said, it looks like the bottom of a fishbowl, the bottom of the sea. So it was really cool though. It was an interesting country. Meg had to wear, she had to cover her hair in Saudi because where we were they're still very strict religious wise. They are opening up. They want tourism, so they opened up to tourism about 5 years ago. So they're slowly kind of getting it's a dry country, so it's going to be tough to get tourists there if you don't allow them to buy alcohol. So it's against their religion. So they had none. I mean, I don't drink anyway, but Meg was fiending after like a day or two. She's like, really? But the food is absolutely amazing. We had some Syrian cuisine while we were there because Meg loves Lebanese food. So we went to a couple Lebanese restaurants. We went to this place that was touted as a Lebanese cuisine place, and all they had on the menu was pizza and chicken, and it was like
for those tourists.
Yeah, it was like, okay. She was all excited to go there. I'm like, oh great, another Lebanese place. And then we get there and they have pizza. I'm like, oh sweet, I'll take a pepperoni pizza. But we had some Syrian food, and holy crap, the food over there is so good. So good. And then when we went in Kuwait, so we've been to now 32 countries together over the last, I'd say, 8 years. And I think I could easily say Kuwait has the nicest people that we've ever run across. And all of the Middle East are the nicest people. They're very nice. That's not to put anybody down, but I mean, these people, like we met some people that she knew from Instagram that were following her. They brought us to breakfast. They picked us up at the hotel, brought us to breakfast, brought us to a souk, which is their market, and they bought her abayas, and which is their, those that don't know, it's the dress, the thing they wear, the women wear that covers their heads and their, it's like a dress it's like a hoodie. It's like a hoodie, but a dress, but it looks nice. But yeah, they bought us some spices and some little candy. I mean, it was unbelievable. They were just always asking us if we need some. Our neighbors, the booth next to us, made some perfume. Another one brought us some like chocolates, some local chocolate. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Were you guys about the only American vendors, or like?
Trying to think, they have people that were from America, but I think they live there now. But they do have a military base, and I want to say they were military, but I can't confirm. I can't remember. But everybody we met lives there. Mm-hmm. They all speak. I think there was like 2 or 3 people that didn't speak English, so Google Translate worked fine. But other than that, I mean, our neighbors were able to help out. Like they were, the guy that actually runs the show, he's from Kuwait, but he spent a bunch of time in New York as a kid, so his English was, he had the New York slang to him. So, but it was pretty cool. And then the guy that runs the show, his good friend is the Prince of, I think it's the Prince of Kuwait. The Prince of Kuwait's like nephew or cousin or something. So like he's in the royal family there. So everybody was following him around like he was something special. So he was super nice too. He's like, anything you want, it's on me. I was like, okay. So
did you find the show and then plan your vacation around it, or did you like, yes, hey, I want to go here, and be like, oh, you know what? How can I justify this? Yeah,
we found the show, and we kind of found it, I want to say last minute. We booked that trip in less than a month. But yeah, we found the show, and then we just said, okay, let's do what's around there that we could do first, because I knew we weren't going to spend 5-6 days in Kuwait, because it's a small country. There's not a ton to see. It's very nice, but there's still parts of it that are war torn from when we were battling with Saddam. But yeah, we just planned around that. We planned the trip around the show, and that's what we do a lot. Like we do the Abu Dhabi one, and where do we want to go this year? So cool. Yeah, that's what we try. Like we used to do the show and then go on vacation. And then we realized that after the show, you're just so tired. It's like, ugh.
Like,
so now we
time and energy to work because you have to.
Exactly. So we now do the vacation first, and then we do the show, and then we leave, a day or two after the show.
That's what we do with our Hawaii shows. We're like, hey, let's have a few days ahead of time, work, and then get out of there.
Yeah. So we did a little bit of both when we did the Cape Town show. We went early, did like 3 or 4 days in Cape Town, did the show, and then we did, Botswana, Zimbabwe, and all that. And that was good because we had to fly there, so we had like a kind of a day off to recoup, and then just there's so much to do with the safari and the Victoria Falls and all that stuff. So, but yeah, generally we do a trip around the show. Generally.
Cool. Do you guys have any more international shows that you're like in the new year?
So Abu Dhabi is in April. I just actually applied to one in Germany. That is in, I think, July. Don't quote me. And then we're London, MCM London, I think, is in October.
Have you ever done that one?
No.
I have my eye on that one. There's a few I have my eye on, but besides Canada, which we drove to, we've never done that. But I think 2025 is the year to do that.
This is our last ditch effort for Canada. We've been doing it for those that listen to the Canada show with Tony Santiago. We've had a double booth for 3 or 4 years. I don't even remember. And it's started out way high and it's just kind of ticking downward and it hasn't really leveled off yet. So I'm going to give it, I went down to 1 booth for next year. So I'm going to give it one more shot. If it's still, ticks down, I'll just take a couple of years off till the economy, because their economy is pretty bad. So we'll see, but we're going to give it one more shot.
Whenever you do these international shows, do you do any sort of research of I should bring this over this, or is it just your normal setup?
So the first one we ever did was Abu Dhabi. And we went there with our normal setup and we killed it, right? It was great. And we had heard after the fact was, they don't like the big prints, the 16, we do 16 by 20s. And we're like, they don't like those. And I was like, well, they were buying them. So I don't know how you're going to tell me they don't like them. But so then the next year we brought the big ones and the small ones, and our sales went down. And then last year we brought only the small ones. 11 by 14 is the small ones. We brought only those. And then we actually brought canvases, like the big ones. And then we realized they don't like the big canvases. That's too big for them, which is weird because they have so much money. Their houses are gigantic, but they don't like the big ones. So I think this year, Meg and I have talked about it a little bit. Like, I think we're going to go back to let's just go back to what worked and just bring the big ones. Mm-hmm. So when we did France, the one in Paris, they are very cheap there. They don't spend anything on a credit card. They don't like to go into debt. They like to just whatever's on their debit card or cash. I mean, you'll get the occasional credit. So they don't like the big prints. For France, I think 8 by 10s, 5 by 7s is the way to go for there, because last year we did it with 11 by 14s and it still just did okay. And that show, I'm not even exaggerating when I say the attendance for that show, it's called Japan Expo Paris. It's actually not in Paris. It's just outside. But attendee wise, it rivals like Mega in New York.
Really?
Yeah, they just don't spend money.
On me. I had no idea.
Well, they just don't spend money. They just don't spend money. And I know 3 other artists. One of our friends lives there, and they're like, I wouldn't do it if it wasn't local. Here we are flying across the world.
But get a chance to go to Paris. Do you think there's any?
Well, that's why we do it, because Meg wants to move there, and I'm still trying to learn French almost 2 years later.
Duolingo?
Yes, I got a 674-day streak.
Is there? Do you think there's any issue with 11 by 14 is an American standard frame as opposed to like A3s and A2s?
I'm glad you said that. So they because they'll ask me, hey, what size? And I say 11 by 14. They're like, what's that? So they're like, oh yeah, no, it's the 8.5 by 11s and A4. So they like the A2, A3, A4 size. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what 16 by 20 translates to, but I know 11 by 14 is not an A3.
Not everyone has a direct translation.
It's 11 by 17-ish. Mm-hmm. It's not. It's like 16 3/4. You know what I mean? But it's along those lines. Is the A3, I think, and then the A4 is the it's not 8x10, it's 8.5 by 11. You know what I mean?
Do you think it's worthwhile? I mean, you would have to print in like their format size, or do you think ish is enough?
I think it's worth a try. I do. I don't know. I mean, the France one, I don't recommend going unless you just want a vacation to France.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or somewhere over in Europe. I mean, you could fly there and then fly somewhere else. Because we've done that. We did Scotland. The London one is good. I've heard from many people the London one is a good show. So, and it's a Reed Pop show,
mm-hmm.
which is weird because we got rejected on it, and I'm like, we literally do every one of your United States shows. How could we get rejected for this one? It's different people, obviously. So, okay, sorry. So yeah, a little technical difficulty. I actually hit it with my earphone, but I don't know why it's so. I don't know why it's so sensitive, but anyway, yes. London. Again, I've never done it. I've heard from many people that it is a good show. I don't know about the sizes. You know, that's another thing we got to talk to because the other people we know are all artists, so we just got to talk to them about what size works. But I do think Abu Dhabi, we will go back to the big ones. Of course, that's all dependent on what Meg thinks because she has the final say.
Let's see. Well, you know, I would love to talk about New York, but that definitely deserves its own pod.
Yeah, I think we got to try to get some other people on with that too, because it's. I mean, obviously, you and I you weren't even there, bum. You just sat back and kept refreshing your Square account, going, "I'm rich.
I was too busy working my own show.
Oh, that's right. You had the Dallas show. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Not to be confused with the Houston show where you got the in the car accident. I kept mixing those up. I don't know why.
Yeah, I did three. Basically, I did 3 Texas shows back to back, and I'd love to do a pod on SpaceCon. Maybe get Tony Santiago on here.
We're gonna try and get Tony for that one because you guys were booth neighbors on that one. Mm-hmm. That was the first time you met him in person.
No, in person. Well, I stopped by, maybe said hi, but after we did the pod, I was like, hey, and we're basically chatting every hour.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, he's nice.
But, a couple other shows I've done that really don't deserve a pod, but deserve maybe honorable mention. I did my first tattoo expo, and I personally did that one. Tiny show, but it was local, and it was an 18+ show. I'm in the 18+ hall, and I don't sell any 18+ stuff. But overall, we did a pretty good job, and I can't say that we would travel all over the country for hunting tattoo expos, but it was definitely something out of the ordinary, and I'm glad we tried it. So, you know.
So for the tattoo shows, though, do you notice there's any difference in what people are looking for?
Well, so our
I feel like they're not there. Okay, so that explains it. Okay, that helps the answer then.
Yeah, and but you know what? There would be interesting things where it's like, oh, I'm waiting for my tattoo in an hour, and they would walk the floor, and then they would buy. So because the tattoo people were just always busy, there was always people waiting for their artist, and they would kind of walk around the floor. So that was kind of an and then at first when I got there, I noticed that there was an 18+ hall and a regular hall. And they put me in the 18+. I don't sell any 18+. And I was like, hey, can I move over here? And they're like, no. Then I'm really glad I didn't, because the 18+ side was so much busier. It is a tattoo expo. And then I walked over to the non 18+, and I'm really glad I stayed where I was. I was like right next to the tattoo artists, and it was a good time.
Okay. Yeah. Now, I got to be careful how I word this. Like in my mind, I'm like, oh, it's an 8. You say 18+. Am I just picturing people walking around freaking naked? Like like one of those porn shows. Like I have a buddy that actually bought a booth to sell art at one of the porn shows. It wasn't. So, can you imagine Meg at a porn show? She'd kill me. But no, like I have a friend that I'm not going to say who because I don't want to. But he bought a booth to sell his art at one of the like the AVN Awards. Whatever the one in Vegas that they have. And he said it actually did halfway decent. It wasn't great. They won't go back, but they made a little bit of money. So I was just wondering, is it something like that? Is it 18+ because it's tattoos and like, hey, can you do my boob? And they're doing that sort of stuff. Is that why?
There was nobody naked, but people could sell naked art, and
I feel like I see those. Oh, okay, that makes sense. I feel like you see those booths, with the naked anime girls, and they have the little the pasties over there, the jumblies.
The pasties aren't necessary there. In fact,
Yeah,
it's just
okay.
rampant. It's just rampant as, hey, this is where, it's just all concentrated right there. In fact, I was the one that stood out having no art
None.
like that.
They're like, who's this
For
idiot?
me, kind of worked out.
Right.
I know they're usually pretty curated, so I kind of had to argue my case of, why I still think we'd be a good fit here, even though we don't have any of that stuff. So I don't know if, Belle and the Beast would be like, but then again, it was still a pretty wide assortment of people. So
Right.
it
Okay.
doesn't deserve its own review, but that's just my 2 cents. That try things out of your comfort zone if it's local, and why not? If there's a group of people gathering in a spot that have money that they want to spend, why not try it?
Yeah, I agree with that. We have a friend that does a bunch of the horror shows, and he keeps telling us we need to try. I'm like, there's not even anything remotely indicating horror in our stuff. I don't believe it would. People go there looking for, Freddy, Jason, Michael, Terrifier, or what's his name, Art the Clown, Texas Chainsaw. They're not going there looking for Belle.
Not Art.
Isn't it Art the Clown? Yeah.
There might be an Art, but I think you're talking about it.
No. Art the Clown is Terrifier.
Maybe.
Yes. I'm gonna look that up right now just to prove myself right.
Just acknowledge that there is an it.
Oh yeah. That's the clown in it. I know that.
Then I'm sure you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, of course.
My 2 cents on the horror shows is, we also don't really have. We have a Friday the 13th travel poster, like visit to what is it? Castle Lake or Camp Crystal Lake.
Camp Crystal Lake.
Other
Really?
Than that, the
Art the Clown. Art the Clown.
Okay, there we go.
Sorry. I knew I was right.
We do hit and miss with the horror shows. What does well, we have a lot of video game stuff, and some of our like more M-rated video game content, it's kind of horror adjacent, and so that's maybe why we do okay there.
Yeah.
But what is normally our best sellers just don't hit there. So
yeah, but I don't know. I just feel like some shows you just never know. Like, oh, this is a heavy anime show, but somehow we sold out of the Disney Castle.
And it's because my opinion on that is
we're the only ones there with a Disney Castle.
Lean towards just like, and it's not just the tattoo show, but lots of shows. Like I almost lean opposite of what everybody's going to bring, and then we really stand out.
That makes sense. Yeah. There you go. That's some knowledge for those. Bring them just in case, right? Bring the horror, but if you have something that's not, bring it. Who knows? They might want it. Put it on display. Because I feel like sometimes whatever, in our table setup, whatever I put on display, I'm going to sell that. We have the book to flip through, obviously. But like there'll be times where I'm like, you know what? I don't like how I have a bunch of purples and greens out. I'm just going to put the up house. It's got all the balloons. So it's like a ton of colors. And then that show, I'll sell 10 ups. You know what I mean? It's like, and then if I switch that out and I put out, freaking Naruto or Naruto, however you say it. People get mad at me when I pronounce it incorrectly. I don't know how to say it.
He's committed to saying Ghibli.
Okay, well, it's not Studio Ghibli. Naruto.
Well, I used to say Ghibli. And,
so that's a question I have because I always ask the people, is it Ghibli or Ghibli? So it's Ghibli?
I think the verdict's still out, but
most
people have leaned towards Ghibli, and I commit to it.
I ask people at the booth when they come by, and I get different answers. So I'm going to go with Ghibli and just leave it at that. But anyway, I could just throw a Naruto out there, and it's like, oh my gosh, I sold 5 of those out. It's like, I feel like whatever I put out there that's not like the normal ones, it's like those seem to sell. But anyway, yeah, that's some lessons for people. Go think outside the box and bring something else just in case. So.
Let's see. So we're near the end of the year. Only a handful of shows left. Are you putting any thought into the new year? Not what shows to book, but just anything to mix up the booths. And I know Max is someone doing the art, but you got any plans for anything new for next year?
Yeah. So I don't have plans, but we do want to redo our setup. I don't know what that means. It scares me when she says that because it could mean, 20 different things, and it could mean a ton of overhead right up front to have to supply everybody with new backdrops and layout and all the tablecloths and
luckily a great printing company.
Yes, that's true, and they do have very fast shipping. So yes. So, I mean, but still, I don't know. But yeah, we do want to revamp some things, and just change up our setups for some of the bigger shows. And, so we brought, like New York, we brought the lights and stuff. And I feel like this just makes a little extra, just brings more to the booth, makes it stand out a little more. So that's all.
I'm spending the next 2.5 months just designing. Now that I have so many less responsibilities because shows are running out the rest of the year, I'm averaging about maybe 2.5, 3 posters a week, and I'll try to do that as much as I can because it is so much easier said than done. But I'm a big component of trying to change your booth up every 6 to 9 months because when you're back, especially when there's like 6 shows a year in Houston, you're going to see the same people every time, and so it's like I'm constantly thinking, how can I be a little bit different, at least 30% different every time I come back to a place. And so again, easier said than done, but
of course,
think about things like that. I think keeps you fresh and people want to come back and at least see what you have.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's always good to have new stuff, but if you can change up the look, but still have your same kind of vibe, it definitely helps. So
let's see. Next year we're going to be trying. I know we talk about this all the time, but really going to be trying to have on the big shows multiple booths. And in the past, we've just duplicated our booth, but I don't want to do that. That's so I'm really trying to design. So maybe we can have 2 different theme booths, and I don't know if that means we have our video game stuff at one booth, and then we're like, oh, we'll go ahead and stop by our other booth. We have other stuff, or if we just kind of mix and match. But I mean, that's the sort of thing that keeps me up of how to justify these multiple booths for these 20 plus shows that we're going to try to do that with next year.
So I think we need to do a pod on it because I have a lot of questions. So I don't want to take it up on this one.
Let's do that. Perfect. What else could we possibly talk about the rest of the year? I'd love to get some feedback from other people. Shout out to our social plugs. Because I think it would be awesome to do a Q&A on, any aspect of traveling or stuff. Like I know I've talked about it before, but I'm really considering switching to another POS system, and so I'm in talks with a few other things, and we might actually be switching over to Shopify. And I know you were talking about Clover. I'm talking to all of them, and it's just healthy to kind of reach out to all of the other competitors. Say, hey,
just play them against each other. Play them all against each other.
Your business,
exactly.
Your business, not the other way around. And something I really want to talk about, but want to test for maybe a month before I chat about it, is how to get those customers to buy again from you online. And we have a few marketing methods. There's obviously QR codes and stuff, but I'm actually talking about maybe more the SMS email side. Like, how are you getting their contact information to get them to buy again? And
I know Alexa uses the Square marketing a lot, so we could have her chime in on that.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point because you spend all this money on a booth to get the customers here. How can you get them to stay engaged with you and want to see you again? Want to buy Meg treats and stuff because they see you on Instagram.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, so we have plenty on tap.
Are you doing any shows yourself for the rest of the year?
Knock on wood, I am done for the year. We have more shows. So obviously winding down as we get closer to the end of the year. But I think the next one that I will personally be at is going to be New Orleans. I'm 80% it's going to be me.
Okay.
So I'd like to just go there.
I'm personally doing 3 more this year, back to back to back. Black Friday weekend in Dallas, weekend after that in Houston, which is like, again, the 3rd Houston show in 2 months that I've done.
Drive careful.
Right. And then the week after that is in Oklahoma City.
Yes. I will send. Ashley will be at Oklahoma City for us.
Perfect. Okay.
Because I think, didn't Valerie do that last year for us? Was that the one?
That was GalaxyCon, Oklahoma.
GalaxyCon. Okay, yeah, I knew it was
Anime 405.
Yeah. I knew it was
Shout out
one
to them. I'm loving that brand, and also great branding. It's like anime insert,
and then there's
area
zip code,
like,
area code. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I know that I did their Milwaukee one, and it was anime whatever 617, and then there was also isn't there one in the Northwest, like one of the Dakotas maybe or Wyoming or something? They have one up there somewhere. I can't remember exactly where, but it's same thing. So
405 Oklahoma City, that's their flagship one, and since it's just 2.5 hours ahead or north from me, like
interesting on this one. So that one was earlier this year. They did that. Yes. Was it January, February?
January. And instead of doing it January next year,
yes,
like, I think there's, which I love the December shows.
I do too.
You guys feel like people are there to spend for Christmas, and so
yeah.
And you know what's crazy? We have so many shows the second week of January, and then not a lot. And I'm like, why can't they be dispersed? But there's like 7 shows that week in January alone. So
yeah, no, I agree. I wish I don't like the ones in January, at least early January, because right after Christmas is such a, people don't have the money. And, I feel like a lot of people are going on vacation because school's out. And so it's like, New Orleans moved it out a week, which is good. But, it's my daughter's birthday and she'll be 22. It's my favorite number. It's my baseball number since I was like 11 years old. So everything in my life is about my license plate says Fear 22. So,
do you have a baseball card of yourself?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to pull it out.
Oh no, I have it. I have a picture of it on my phone. But yeah, I have it.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's available on eBay for those that are interested. Not from me. Somebody else is selling it. I have like 5 or 6 of them left. I've given them all out over the years. But yeah, Tony has one. Santiago, he has one. Yeah, an autographed one. But anyway, Reese will be 22, so it's going to be the best year of her life, obviously.
Well, and now here's a question for the audience. This was kind of a all over the place pod, but this is kind of what Ryan and I do almost once a week, unrecorded. And so I was like, hey, let's save this for the pod and see if anything comes of it. So, I mean, let us know if you kind of like these ramblings, because I'm always tuned in to, the shows, what's coming up.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be, what show are they reviewing, or what show are they previewing, or what info are they giving us about a show. We're talking about shows and talking about cons. It's just not in a very structured format. I like this. So yeah, I want to see what you guys think. So if you could please give us some feedback, we would appreciate it.
Well, that's it from me. So if you want to bring us home.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to let me do it this time. All right. So, so thanks again, everybody. And I don't know when our next one's going to be, but it'll be soon because we have a lot to talk about. So
New York is coming up.
New York's coming up. You had some shows with the one with you and Tony for SpaceCon. So yeah, we got to just get these knocked out. So we will see you guys next time. And see you.
Peace.